Thanks for joining. We are going to start our CCNA DevNet journey. More precisely, this is the automation journey that we are starting. At this point of time, we have basic knowledge understanding of how the network works. We have gone through CCNA, basics of BGP, and then we have little bit idea about how this Python is working. So all those knowledge is going to be utilized in this particular training, because now we want to do everything via some script, via some automation, via some tools. So we'll go and learn, understand all those tricks and techniques that we have in this particular course. Let me walk you through the course agenda that we have in CCNA, and then we will go and discuss about our training plan as well. Training plan means that how I'm going to cover all these topics, what will be the pattern of this training. In this training, we know that we have 3 days reserved for our training, and one day I'm going to reserve for lab practices. So I'm creating one lab workbook where whatever we'll study in day number 1, 2, 3, that dedicatedly we perform the lab task in day number 4. So the fourth session that we have, that will be related to lab task only. That they will not learn any new technology, any new thing. Now you can see here the breakup for the course. So let me go back. I can show you the, oh, this is skipping. Okay, no problem. Let me quickly show you the training agenda. In this course, we have these sections. Section number 1, software development and design. You can see the weightage 15%. We'll leave this weightage. So we have software development and design, understanding and using APIs, Cisco platform and development, application security. This will be smaller topic, but security is always important for organization. So we'll check this section as well. And then you can see infrastructure and automation. Later on, this section will enhance actually in CCNP enterprise automation in auto. So in CCNP, we have one dedicated paper related to enterprise automation, where they are dealing with SD-WAN automation, Cisco DNA automation, Meraki automation, iOS XC automation, and those things in detail. So complete this section, this complete area, this particular area is there in CCNP. Here you can see the 20%, their weightage is 100%. All different type of SDN you can automate via different scripts, different programming languages in this. And then finally, network fundamentals. I will not cover this topic because anyways we have completed our CCNA. But this section will tell that what is router, what is switch, what is firewall, what is load balancer, how MAC address is working, what is MAC table, and all those things, routing table and all. So this already we know. So I'm going to cover section number 1 up to section number 5. And the agenda here is this, that will go slow because since this is a new topic. So we'll go slow and we'll do dedicated hands-on practices as well, like lab practice. As I already told you that 3 classes and 4th class will be the lab exercise. Okay, so let's start with section number 1, that is software development and design. And in section number 1, again, you can see how many subsections we have. Section number 1, subsections, you can see that we have to understand the data formats. This is important. Why it is important, we'll discuss about that. Then this data format, how we can go and encapsulate within Python. Then describe the concept of test-driven deployment and development in that agile method, lean, waterfall. Then explain the benefit of organizing the code into method. So what I will do, that day number 1, I will go and cover only these 2 topics, 1.1 and 1.2. And day number 2, we can go and check even 2, 3, 4, even 5 also. These are mostly theoretical thing, that how this software model working and what different types of development methodologies are there. In computer science, there is one dedicated book for this topic, software development and design. Maybe in the sixth semester in computer science, people are studying that book, and that is universal book. I think everywhere that book is there. I don't know the name. I can give you the name as well for that book. So one dedicated 600, 700 page book is there just for these topics. So you can understand that we are going to learn the compressed version, the summary version of that particular book, because that will tell about the object-oriented programming and their methodology, their evolution, and then how you can go and develop the software using these different type of methodologies, complexity in these methodologies, and how one versus two versus three. Anyways, in this course also, we are going to discuss these methods, and then we will go and compare these, because this is required for CCNA DevNet engineer. Once you move into the development phase, then you will go a little bit more depth inside these, right? But anyways, we'll see that what is their scope and how much is there. And if you want to learn new thing, then I will refer some books as well, just for these topics. Then finally, you can see that while you're developing the software, you should have the collaboration, means different development team members are developing a package. So that means that it should be shared somewhere. Once it is shared, that means you are concerned with security, their updates, packages, etc. So for that, we have different type of repositories like Bitbucket, GitHub, etc., etc. Different repositories are there. So how in those repository you can go and do the version control. You can create branches, sub branches. You don't want to play around with the main code. If something will happen, then how you can go and roll back the changes and all those things. Those versioning will be there in this section. So 1.7, 1.8. So what we can do that we can slice this topics into 3 days. Day one, we can do this. Day two will be purely theoretical. And again, day number three, where we will go and learn about Git and GitHub, etc. Here you can see the breakup of topic: cloning, add, remove, commit, push, merge and handling conflicts and diff. Like these operations related to Git, we have to understand. So we'll see this maybe in day number three and day number four. All these topics we'll learn from day number one to day number three. We will do dedicated lab for that. So we'll go and install GNS. We'll go and install the automation server within the GNS, and then we'll go and install the Python, the packages. Then we'll go and install the Git. Like that, I will create the lab workbook. So you have to go simply follow those steps and you are able to complete those lab tasks. Okay. So let's start with 1.1 and 1.2. Today I'll cover 1.2 as well. 1.1. Compare data format XML, JSON and YAML. Now what do you understand with this? XML, JSON, YAML. What is your understanding about this? Yeah, you can answer. You can answer if you want. Why we are using these data formats? Where it is used? What's the significance? Okay, let's try to understand this. Yeah, we can answer. Any answer is okay. Whatever you're understanding, that's okay. Meanwhile, I'm drawing. You can try to answer. Anything is okay. No problem. I'll answer this. Now, let's try to understand. Suppose you have one automation server. From this automation server, you want to do the deployment, monitoring to networking devices. Suppose these are my networking devices, right? Suppose this is my networking device. This is the right. So any type of program I'm running, anything I'm running, it's okay. Later on we'll discuss more about that. But I have one automation server, and example is this. Suppose I just want to push SNMP configuration. For example, I want to do SNMP configuration to the networking devices. What are the prerequisites we have for that? So your automation server should be reachable to the networking devices, right? That is the one, reachability to the devices to the server. Then what? Then in your automation server, you should have some
Credentials.
programming language where you want to create your scripts, your programs, right? And then your automation server should have some packages that you can connect to these devices, and it will give you some allocated time that you can connect to the devices and you can push the configuration, right? And then come out, right? You're agree with me? This is the operation that we are doing, right? So
I
at
need
least,
the credential also to get access to the devices, no?
okay, reachable, accessible, sales we are putting in a script. Then what you want to configure. Any other thing? Reachability should be there. You should have the credentials, should be accessible. Credentials we are putting in the script, and what we want to configure we are putting in the script, right? So we have some sort of configuration. Last time in project, we have seen this when we are doing some SNMP or access list configuration. So that configuration we are putting in a list. Suppose I have items list where I have the configuration, and then I should have the packages install to connect to device and log out, right? Any other thing? These are the operations. You want to confirm that these are the operations. Color is better. Blue, orange, yellow is not good. Red, too reddish. Okay, right. So my question here is this, that where this data formats will fit in this operation. You got my point? Where the XML, JSON, YAML will come into the picture. Okay, so think like this. When you are configuring the devices, you are SSHing it, right? Normal configuration. SSH or telnet, no one is using telnet. So SSH to the device, and then you are configuring it. Any configuration you are doing. For example, line VTY 0001 and then login local. That's the configuration you want to do. What you will do, you will log into the device via SSH. right? So logging to the device, you need credential. You are doing SSH because you are enabling the SSH services to the devices, and then you are doing the configuration. So in this list, you can see that you will log to the device only if it is reachable. Then you should open the SSH in your device. So you have some credentials and you can go log in and you can do some configuration like line VTY04 login local. So package should be installed. In terms of programming, same thing you can do, but you should have some prerequisite. You have your automation server ready, you have your networking devices ready, reachable, and then you can push the configuration. You can do it manually via CLI, or if you want, you can do via the Python script. So far, that's the order. In this understanding, you have any problem, difficulty? No, right? It's easy.
The package, well, what will be the package? Like Ansible or something like
Yeah.
that? Or
So to configure, so for example, I have programming language Python install. Now to connect to the devices, you need some packages like NetMiko, Paramiko, etc., etc.
okay, okay.
So those are the packages to connect to the devices. Okay, now our question here is this, that what's the use of XML, JSON, YAML, right? So the answer here is this. You can see clearly 1.1, these are the data formats. These are the data formats. It can be used via programming language called Python, but mostly they are used via some APIs. When you learn API, application programming interfaces, then you will understand that these are actually the encoders. These are the encoded payload. So when we are using, later on you'll understand that at the moment you are connecting via some Python, something like that. But if you connect via RESTconf or NetConf, RESTconf, NetConf, they are protocols defined in application layer. Protocols, they are defined in the they are the application protocol, for example, and they are using, say, NetConf is using port number 830, RESTconf is using some port number. So when you are configuring the devices via some protocols like NetConf, network configuration, REST, we'll see that RESTful APIs and all those things, RESTconf, at that time as a data payload, you will go and use these formats, data formats like XML, JSON, YAML. YAML is basically used for data modeling. Data modeling is again some different thing, but mostly you will go and use XML and JSON. They will work as a payload. What you want to configure, you will not configure like a list. You have some payload format in XML or JSON, and with that payload format, that's a data format, you will go and push the configuration. Even when you are getting some information, like you are running some get APIs, when you are getting some information, right? So at that time also, to get some information as well, like you want to see the number of interfaces, so you can go and run some APIs. They will use some protocol, maybe RESTconf API or NetConf API, right? So when you get some output, when you get some result, in CLI we are running some show IP interface brief, show interfaces, etc., etc. So when you are getting some information, then that information may come in XML format or JSON format, right? So this is the use of these formats, the data formats, that either you can use these data encoders, data formats to as a payload to configure something, or you can get some output in these formats later on with Python tricks, some other tricks. You can filter the output, and whatever important key that you want, you can print only those keys in the result. right? That's the power we have actually. That's the capability we have in the programming. That these formats that we have XML, JSON, YAML, these things, they are the powerful things that we have in the programming language. So here you have the intelligence. Like if you are using such type of program that we have done in our assignment, those are again very much like configuring the devices via CLI. Like the same logic you're writing in a code or in a script and you're feeding it. But these are the if you are doing automation like this, these are the intelligent way to do the automation, because they will go and use some port number 443 HTTPS type of sessions. They will not go to the network layer or data link layer, etc., to configure the devices. You will configure the devices in other way, in HTTP, from application layers, and that will save the memory processing to the devices, and that will be very lightweight. You can scale, the automation can scale, it can scale maybe to 10,000, 20,000 devices. Otherwise, doing the automation like this that we have done in our project, it is not that much scalable, because still it is some manual work. You are doing the Python automation, these automation that we have done in our project. But if you go and use these protocols, data encoders and formats, then the scale will increase. The automation scale will increase and it will improve, and then you have the standard format of the automation for the automation. And then uh, the good thing about this, that nowadays all different type of components, not only the networking component, unified systems like IP phones and IP phone UC CM servers, the firewalls, the different type of products, the storage devices, the UCS devices, even the NetApp devices, non-Cisco product like NSX-T, heavy load balancers, and other Palo Alto firewalls, and all those devices, they can support this format. They are supporting this format. So you are not dependent that for different devices, you are developing different type of Python packages and then a script and storing somewhere. Even one device, one automation server can automate network, compute, storage, security, unified system. Everything you can automate from one place. That's the key capability we have, because all these devices, they will understand either XML or JSON or both. Okay, you got your answer, I think. Let's move on. Let's try to understand this. So this is the use now, how this look like and what is the format and all those things we'll study. XML, Extensible Markup Language, JSON, JavaScript Object Notation. This is you will prefer, because this is very much human readable. And then we have YAML, YAML and Markup Language. Like that, they are naming their languages. This is the data modeling language. These are the encoders, data formats. YAML will be used, it is used in NSO and other places as well. We'll check that once it will come into our syllabus. We'll go and dig deeper into this. So XML, let's focus on XML. Extensible Markup Language. These type of languages you may have seen in HTML code, like static web pages. They are very much similar like that. Now, what's the use in networking? We'll focus on that. So XML is a markup language that uses tags to define. That's why it's a markup language, because it's a tag-based language. You will start something with tag, and then when you are ending, you will end with the tag. So start of the tag and end of the tag, you have to define it. It is hierarchical. We'll see that it has the parent-child relationship. XML documents are typically more verbose compared to JSON and YAML. Since it is hierarchical, since it has its own complexity, so I generally prefer JSON and YAML over XML, but in there are few use cases, or there are some non-Cisco devices, or there are some sort of IP phones and all, they are not supporting JSON. So you don't have option that you need to automate those IP phones and non JSON supported devices via XML format only. XML supports attributes within the elements for providing additional information. It uses SOAP. Let's see, protocol developed by Microsoft, I think, but people are using RESTconf nowadays. So we'll not go detail about this, the SOAP protocol. But SOAP protocol is using the XML, and the other protocol which is using XML is NetConf. NetConf is using the XML protocol. I have that table. We'll see that after 2-3 slides. You understand this XML? Okay, let me show you the example, then you'll understand more. See, here we have an example. We'll start like this, bracket, book, a starting of book, and then ending of book. Within book, so it has a parent and child relationship. Within the book, this is the parent, then we have child. Title. So we are starting the title and then we are ending the title with this slash. Then author. So this is the book title, Harry Potter. Author, J.K. Rowling. Then we are ending this author. This is the tag. The start of the tag, end of the tag. The start of the tag, end of the tag. Starting, ending. And then this book. This is the payload. When you will use this, you can go and use this format as it is, as a payload. This payload can be passed within Python or within the netconf, within the protocols, right? This is the format. This is the format, like earlier, in early years, people are writing their HTML code as well to develop these static website pages. Nowadays, we have so many different options to develop website. So many dynamic standard things are there that people are using. But still, this is the basic, that is still the XML format will be like this only. Then next in the line, we have the JSON. JSON is something like very much human readable. And good thing about this, that this is very much like key value pair, key value. It's very much like dictionary. So format, you can see that we are starting the program. This is the parent loop. And then this parent, you can see that we have key and then value, very much like dictionary. So we are writing book. Within book, what are the key value? Title, Harry Potter. Author, J.K. Rowling. Year, this. So key and value, key and value. Now which format is easy to understand? This format or this format? Obviously this, because it's very easy to write. We know that we don't have to open the tag and close the tag. Key and value, key and value, key and value, and that's it. Right? Likewise, we have one more format, that is YAML. Ant markup language. YAML is even easier or simpler than this. You can see here again, you have to give some parentheses, open, close, etc. Here you can see that we are in the book, simply title, author. It's very much like we are using such type of format in our normal programming languages. In our normal programming, in our normal day-to-day life also, when we are giving some greeting card or something, we are writing like this. Say happy birthday, by this, happy birthday, wish you good birthday, etc. etc. It's very much like that. It's very simple. Even compared to JSON, you can see the YAML is bit more simpler. Okay, any doubts so far? Please feel free to ask.
No questions.
Okay, so no problem. So suppose Let me try to explain one nice thing here. TCP IP stack. What are the different type of layers we have in TCP? Physical layer, data, network and application, right? In TCP IP layer, you have physical layer, then you have data link layer, right? Then you have some internet or network layer, transport like that, right? Application. Like that, you have the different type of layers. Now, let's try to compare this with the protocol layer. On top, obviously, protocol layer. Obviously, you have the application layer, right? But in application layer, what will be there in application layer? Different type of protocols that we will learn. We will learn later. Different type of protocols such as RESTconf, NetConf. So here you may have application, for example, RESTconf. These topics will be there later on, so don't worry about that. And somewhere you have some data encoding, data formats, where you have the XML, JSON, YAML, etc. Like actually these are used as a data modeling. This YAML at least, YAML, data modeling. What is this? How it is useful and all? You'll understand this. So directly this you can use within the Python language or via these application protocols that we have on top as a payload they can be used. XML, JSON. JSON is little bit more user friendly because it is very much like dictionary, key and value pair. So we'll focus more on the JSON because it's easy to understand and easy to digest, right? This is important actually. This knowledge is important. So if you have any doubt at this point of time, feel free to ask.
Basically, we'll do the program in YAML versus Python, or Python will be push the YAML scripts.
Yeah, we will see that how we will
Okay.
including that because for YAML that is the modeling language we have different options there. We will check that about YAML. I will show you that. We may have example related to YAML. Anyways, today only I'm going to show you that how we are going to use this in the YAML. After few slides, we have those examples. In 1.2 actually we have the examples related to that. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on slowly. Okay, so now you will see the differences here, the XML, JSON, and YAML. Markup language, lightweight, human readable. This is based on the hierarchy and tag key value pair and uses indentation for the structuring. Less human readable, it is more, and this is more, is using some web services protocol. It will be used with the RESTconf. It is used in the modeling languages. We'll see that NSO, Network Service Orchestrator, Cisco NSO, is one of the ISP project where it is heavily used. Then support attributes, elements, etc. These are the examples that we have seen. There's a summary table we have. Now in this example, in 1.2, I am going to show you first that how it will be used. These encoders will be used within the Python. So this is the example of XML, but when we'll digest this within the Python, you will see Python code using XML. First, I will run the result and then I'll come back to this output. In this course, you know that we have 6 different segments, and today's with this recording, I will share you all the codes as well that will be used within our training. And then we have separate set of code for lab practices that we are going to do on 4th session. So these codes are available. All these codes are available. I'll share the code. Let me open my Microsoft Visual Studio. So here you can see, oh, I have changed something. Okay, no problem. So here you can see that using XML, right? XML, we are importing some packages. I'll come back to this as ET. Then I have this data encoder, XML data. In this XML data, what we have? We have the book name and the author and the year of publication, right? So this is my data. Now this data, how we can go and digest within the Python. So here you can see the program. Now this logic we know because we know the Python language. So we know that how it can be used. But here you can see that we are importing some packages XML E3 elementary as ET. So it will go and read the XML structure from parent to child, because this is a structured programming language. So it will read that from top to bottom like that. So we are storing ET form. See, ET formatting XML data. So this is the XML data. So we are storing everything within the root. So this data we are storing here as a root. Now you will see that we are using one condition for loop. So for book in root dot find all. This is obviously the function within the XML. Find all. What you want to find? Book. Find title. Find author. Then year. Since year is what? Integer. So we have to give integer book find. So rest all these format is almost same. If it is a string, then we have book, because this is a condition. Book find the title dot text. Book find the author dot text. Since this is integer, so book find year within the loop dot text, and then it is in the format of integer. Then we are printing the title because we are storing the title, author and year, and then we can go and print it. So if I go here and if I run,
Find all is a function in Python. Find.
yeah, this is the function. This is the function within the XML. Find. Yeah, find. This is the function. Find all and find. You know, last time when we are studying about the functions, within the functions, we can go and pass the arguments, right? So these are the inbuilt functions that we are using. Find all, find. But don't worry, this is just the example for understanding purpose. We're not going to use such type of examples. We'll go and use some networking related example, right? This is just to show you that you have one XML data, how you can go and embed within the Python to get some result. I can see the result because since we are printing only these things, so the book name, right? Remember these things that we have done earlier. Let me show you one more thing. You can use f function, right? And then the book name, and you can do like this. the author name, year of publication, one thing. Mm,
The printf should be at the beginning. Well, I mean, at the end of the print. What is that?
I'll come to that.
No, no, no. It's
We are getting the result actually. No
Mm.
problem. I'll come to that. Let me try. Means we have the result, and with some Python skill, we can print it in a nicer way as well. Because I missed that. So you can see the book name is this. Like I can go and remove this. This I can go and remove, and somewhere this I can. So now you can see the result that we have. We can go and print it like this, right? Now this is one of the item that you can see uh, like this. You may have multiple items, like this is one book, like that you have other book, like that you have other book, like that. So that means that you have one router, right? You have one router, maybe it has 10 interfaces, right? So those interfaces having, so you can go to the interface and then you can give the IP address and subnet mask. Then over that interface, what you want to configure. You may have some 3-4 different lines of configurations as well that you can go and give line item, and then you can use some Python trick. You can push it, or if you want to print some result, print it, right? You can do those things as well. That we will see later on. But at this point of time, you have to understand this format, right? This skill, we know that how to use for loop, putting the condition within the loop, and what is the functions and where we are storing, and then we can go and print the result. This is not a new thing for us, but yeah, you can practice so you will understand more about this. You have any doubt, please feel free to ask. A little bit complicated example, right? So let's move to the easy example. See, same result you can go and print with the JSON as well. In JSON, now you can see importing the package JSON, JSON data, key and value pair, book, within the book. So this is the root, title, author, year, like that we can define, right? Then book dictionary, this is just the storing the book. Now you will see, you know what will happen in future. If you go and learn SDWAN programming, if you go and learn Cisco DNA programming, in that we mostly we are using REST conf. So on those programming languages, these things, the this is the API output. This you will get as a output, and you will learn later on that output of one API can be input of other API. And then in the professional programs, in the SD-WAN and those automations, what we are doing that we are nesting these APIs, you know, we may go and use 10 or 15 APIs. So one From one API, I will get the serial number. From other API, I will get the UUID. Then the third API will put the serial number UUID. We can push some configuration. Like that we are using it. But whenever we are getting the result, whenever you run any API and when you are getting the response, you will see that in the code itself, it will tell you the response. The response for get method, put method, post, etc. etc. Whenever you are getting the response, that response will be in this format. And this is huge. Knowledge of JSON is very important. So when you have the output like this, then what you can do, you can see that this output we can go and store. So if I go and simply print the book dict, you'll see here. Now if you go and run this program, you'll see this is the dump. We are telling this as a JSON dump data. It has everything. And from this dump data, with some Python skills, you will go and filter the output. So this is nothing but filtering. We are filtering. So from this dump data, we are going to book filtering the title. We are going to book filtering the author. We are going to the book filtering the year. So that's why you can see here in the output that we have the title, the writer name, and then the year. This is easy to understand, or this is easy to understand? Is this easy or
What
is
do you
this
see, the second one or the second one?
the same thing actually? Actually, it's the same. 1.a, 1.a actually with the same program. Only name is different. This is same
Question,
XML.
Ranesh.
Yep.
It's not better to have your XML uh, outside of your code, like having in an external file
Yeah,
instead of having your XML there in the code, like if you want to add something like added outside of your code, like for example, like having my XML dot XML or my file dot XML and read everything from there.
yeah. So we just started actually. That's why I'm showing everything at this place. But when you're developing the programs, the actual ones, then let me show you an example. Then all the files should be separate. At the
Yeah,
moment, we just
for
started
automation is better,
this.
right?
Yeah, all files, they are at different location. I don't know if I have some SDWAN. Where are you? Oh, let me go to my folder, and you will see somewhere SDWAN use cases. And if I go to day number 9 or 10, this is a little bit more. All the files actually we are developing, you can see auth file is different, con file different, main is different. So you can put everything in the con file, all the payload, main where we are collecting all those packages in one function. Monitor is different, template is a util set. Yes, all files we are developing separately, and then we are calling within the main function. So yes, because since we have started this, like this is our first class, so I'm showing you the example like easy ones. But yeah, your payload should be at other places. And as I mentioned here, that payload, these are the dynamic things. So in real programming, these outputs that you are getting, these formats that you are getting, you will get from some API at the same time when you execute the program. And then dynamically you will modify that, like you will go and create a code in a way that your Python program will read the API as an input, and then you will take some fields from that, some headers from that, and then that operation will be used in other API, right? So
Yep. Yep.
even if payload is required, yeah, obviously you can have payload in different file as well. Otherwise, one API output will be the input for other API, and then you'll get the final result. Okay. Okay, all right. Then we have third example, the same line. You can see that we have the YAML data where we have the book and the definition of this book, like the title and the author, etc. And then we are storing everything within the book.tict. We are using some packages within the YAML because we are importing the YAML, the data modeling language. Safe load, putting this data in this, everything is in this book underscore dict, and this is almost the same that you have this. So YAML and JSON, you can see how much similar they are. Even the data format is also very similar. This is little bit more structured, right? The data format, but the operation within the Python are very much similar. So if I go and run this program also, we'll get the same sort of output, right? So you'll see that everything we have here in the example as well, I have shown this. This is the JSON, and then this is the program calling JSON in the book dict as the JSON loads the data, and then we can go and print in any ways, any format. It's up to us. Even I can go and print this in XML. I can go and print this in Excel sheet, in XML, in doc, in PDF, any format I can print, right? And then you have this YAML, and then oops, this is skipping the slide, but I have shown you there in the example that this also you can go and print like this. Okay, question, query, anything, please feel free to ask.
Because at the end of the day, we'll use YAML basically, or we will use the tree one.
We will
Depends on the
use
situation.
JSON and YAML mostly.
Okay.
This and this.
Okay.
XML
XML is
is
not in
something
use now.
that you can see it's very difficult to read and digest and understand.
Hmm.
But there are legacy devices like IP phones and others where we don't have option for this JSON and this. There you have to go and use this XML only.
Okay.
Cisco IP phones, they do not understand the JSON and YAML, so we have to do coding with XML. Okay, so that's all the session for today. I just wanted to start slow, so you take your time, try to understand, but focus on JSON and YAML. Even if you focus on JSON, YAML will come automatically. This will come automatically. Just focus on this because 95% we are going to use this only, JSON. Okay. So this was the session number 1, very easy, very simple session, and I will not go and stretch more on this. The next section will be also very easy because it's theoretical. Describe the concept of test event. No, this I have added one complicated lab here just to understand that how this is working. This is also theoretical, but I have added one lab here to show you that in the live environment how we are testing some packages, some piece of code in between the program. So this I have the lab to understand, and then these are theory we'll discuss about that. Maybe I'll go and cover only 3 topics. I'll not go fast. I want to give you time to understand these things and do some hands-on practice. Okay, if you have any question, please feel free to ask. Thanks for joining. Today, day number 2, we are going to discuss about test plan. Mostly today's session will be theoretical, and I have one lab related to how we can go and execute this test plan. So what is happening that the piece of code that we are developing, obviously we have one full-fledged software, one package, and in that if some new request will come, then what you will do? You will go and work on that particular request. Now that request is part of one big software that you will not integrate with the software and you will check. Rather than that particular piece of code, you will test it separately, and if it is working fine, then you can go and include in the main program. That's the approach. Recently we heard that one of the software patch, Cloud Strike or Crowd Strike, it has impacted so many terminals, so many airports, because of it has some incompatibility issue with Windows 11 or other Windows server, Windows operating system, right? So that means that that piece of code was not properly tested, and without testing it, it is there um, integrated with some other operating system. And then you can see that the result, what happened if you do not test the code, and if you go and integrate with the parent code, then anything can happen, like it may be a bug or it may be something that break the logic of the entire program. So that's why what is happening, that while developing the software, we are using this TDD, that is nothing but test driven development. Test driven development, TDD. This is the approach, TDD. And in this approach, you can see the cycle here. So someone has the feature request, then writing the code and then testing it. Now, if test fail, then obviously you will go back in the loop and again you will check your code and verify it. Now, if test is pass, then you can see all test pass, then refactor it. Refactor means that we are removing the complexity of the code, and there are different parameters to reduce the complexity of the code. That means that suppose if you are using for loop, or you are using for loop versus while loop or any other condition, why you are using that condition? In that condition, how many iterations you have, how many times the loop is getting called. Those things are termed as the complexity of the program. Generally, the better program, they have less complexity because they are using all sort of algorithm, all sort of optimization that will go and reduce the complexity of the program. So now you can see that this test driven development, TDD, how it is working, that you are taking one piece of code, and that particular piece of code, instead going to the main program, you are testing it in the test environment, and then you are patching it with the main program, right? Now for this software development, you will see that there are different type of approaches. Here you can see that TDD approach: write a test, implement code, run the test. And that's why you can see that there are requirement for protocol tester or testers, automation testers. Like these are the requirements there in the market. So what these engineers are doing, that they are writing the testlet or test bed actually. So let me give you the full-fledged idea, because I work as a protocol tester. So I know this cycle. I work almost 8 months in one of the Cisco project, where our job was to develop the Catalyst 4K switches, checking VSS and how this virtual switching system work with IPv6, DHCP v6, etc. Like we are working on the new feature request related to IPv6 and IPv6 related features like DHCP and other features. So what we used to do that we have a test bed system. Sometimes it is termed as a middleware. So in that we have all Ubuntu. So how these companies are doing, Cisco is giving all these things to some third party. Cisco don't want to use their resources for testing purposes, so they are giving this to the third party companies. Now these third parties, what they are doing that instead of purchasing the genuine um Linux servers, they are using some open source Linux servers to do the development just to reduce their cost. Otherwise, they have to pay the licenses for all the operating system, all the end host, etc., etc. So the development or the testing will be, you will see that testing anywhere, testing will be always happening in the Linux operating systems because they are easy to use in terms of running these test cases and all. Now, how we are building? So, what is happening that Cisco used to give test cases. They want to check that IPv6, DHCP v6. Okay, can you check the performance for DHCP v6? Um, we used to send some traffic. So, Ixia is one of the traffic generation tool by which we can send any amount of traffic to these VSS systems, to these interfaces. So what is happening that we used to write a code. Those are, so we have test beds, and we are writing automation code. That automation code will do everything. That means two different switches, they are forming the VSS with that automation script. Then it will configuring the IPv6. Then it will configuring the DHCP v6 features and whatever required features. So all these features are listed as a case 1, case 2, case 3, case 4. Here in this example, you can see that we are focusing on one case and one case how we will handle. But in the actual scenario, you have test bed and then you have use case 1, use case 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And with different type of traffic, what is the reaction, throughput and all those things we are collecting. So when we are executing the program, what how it is that it will go build that build that catalyst switches, form the VSS, configure the devices, doing the testing with Xia and third-party plugins, and then after that, it will destroy the lab. Building the lab, destroying the lab. Everything was happening. Now, when we start to run this program, it took maybe 45 minutes or 1 hour to complete that, all the line items and all those things. Now, in between that, if anything will come, any error will come, then the program will exit. Now, if the program will exit, then what you need to do, again, you have to build it the code because you have to go to that particular line item. Suppose I was developing 1,000 line code program. Then again, I have to check my 1,000 lines. Oh, which particular line I have issue. For example, line number 200. Then I used to fix that line number 200. Again, we are running that code. Again, if something will happen, then we will go to line number 400. So that's a pain for the protocol testers that they have to go to their code again and again and again and make sure that it is working. So it is actually not possible because generally companies they are giving, okay, you have to test 4 test cases in a day. If you are running 4 test cases itself, it will take 4 hours. And then if any bug is there, then it will take 8 hours. Then more bug is there, then it will take 16 hours. Like that, time will increase. So it's very painful job, this protocol testing. See, this testing is not that easy. This is also from the same cycle, test driven deployment. So what companies are doing that to test certain new features, they are giving this project to the third party. They are not doing all this patching and all those things, third party. So maybe this CrowdStrike, the patch update thing they have given to some third party. Once they got that, third party may told that CrowdStrike, oh, see, my patch is okay, it is good, now you can use it. Then CrowdStrike they have given to the customers, their customers, and all of a sudden their customer, they hit that major bug, major issue. Anyways, that's the overall steps that actually we are doing, what exactly we are doing in the as a protocol tester. Here you have the test driven program where you have to write a test, right? Then implement it, run it, and then refactor it. Once you are running, everything is good, then you try to reduce the complexity and repeat the cycle for other test case 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here I have an example. You will see that I want to make sure. So I have one feature request that can you check the factorial function? We know that factorial. So this is the function factorial. Calculate factorial. This is my function name. If n equal to 0, return 1, means come out. Else, call this function, reduce one number and work on it. So here you can see if n equal to 5, so return. So if n is not equal to 0, it will go to else. So return 5 and then n minus 1. So it will return 5 into 4. Then again, since n is not equal to 0, then into 3, then into 2, then into 1. That means it will calculate factorial 5 as a 120. So this function, this program here, this is the main program that I want to develop. But I don't know that if I run this program, factorial of 5 will return 120 or not. So for that, we can go and write a test case, right? So here you can see that we are writing one test case to check the factorial. The factorial is working fine or not. So how we are writing it? You can see that we are importing the unit test package. From factorial, import calculate factorial. This calculate factorial, you will see calculate factorial. So this is just the package, right? Python package. Either it is inbuilt package or we can develop some packages as well, like some other program, and we can call other program here in the this program. So now we are defining one class called test factorial. Inside that we have unit test dot test case. We want to check the test case. So that's why. So unit test dot test case. Now within the class we have the function. So what is that function? Test calculate factorial result, store the result, calculate factorial of 5. See, this is one of the function factorial of 5, right? Inbuilt function, because we are calling from the factorial. And then assert value, assertion value, the result is 120. So it will go and check this thing, right? You will understand. Let me try to execute this. So we have this program here, and if I go and run this, oh, 1.3, run one test is showing okay. If I go and make this 121, now you will see the assertion value, the assert equal. So result should be equal to 120, but here result is 121, means assert result is 121. We are giving this value 121, result is 120. Assertion error. Now it is telling that it is failing. This test is failing. Why? Because you are expecting what? What you are expecting? You are expecting 120, but it is not equal to 121. So that's why we have this error. So that means this test is fail. Ran one test, fail. But if we go here and make this 120, and if you run this, So we are running one test and it is okay, right? So likewise, we can go and check the steps. So now here you can see the steps. Step number 1, write a test. So we have this test for factorial. Step number 2, implement the code. Now we can go and check this calculate factorial. This is the function that we are calling. So this function you can see that it will go and create the execute the factorial. So that means this function is working fine. Then run the test. We are running the test. If you run the test, if it will pass, that means this code is correct. And then after that, you can go and refactor the code. That means you can go and reduce the complexity. Right. So this is the example for the test TDD approach, that you are developing a code, writing it, checking the test, and then refactor it. This is the cycle. Okay, you have any doubt, any question, please feel free to ask.
You mentioned the third-party tools. What tools are those? Like Ansible or
Python?
Salt Stack? Or oh yeah, Python.
Yeah, we are using everything in Python. You can see the program is just factorial.py, something like that. We are testing it, and then this code is okay after testing. So then you can go and implement it. Right. All right. So now let's move on to the next topic. Again, this is very much like theoretical topic. That is approach that compare different type of software development methods. And you can see here that we have different type of methods such as waterfall method, agile method, lean method, nested planning, right? These four type on top you can see agile, lean, waterfall. So you should at least know agile, lean and waterfall as per our CCNA curriculum, but nested planning is also there. Now, if you see the diagram, mostly you will understand what exactly they want to do. Waterfall, you can see that this is the simple model, but this is a fixed type of a rigid type of module. You do not have much, what you can see, you do not have much flexibility in this because this is very much like fixed and a scalar type of approach, that is starting the code and going from top to bottom, developing one module and then other module and then other and then other, like that. This is there. So all these methods, you can see that these methods are in use. Either someone can go use waterfall, agile, lean, or mix of these three. But where we are using what type of method, for that I have created one chart. Let me go to the chart first and then I'll come back. So for example, you will see this waterfall method. Sequential process. It has sequence. Sequence means that if you do one, then you will do two, then you will do three. You are not seeing any type of loop here. Like in the sprint, you can see that you are starting the development, and then you can see that you have daily scrum. Like the development, you can checking that development as well. Within the loop, you can go back anytime, because it is not following the strict sequential. We'll see that. Sequential, document driven, rigid structure, suitable. This is important, suitable. Well suited for projects with a stable and well understood requirements where changes are unlikely to occur frequently. So waterfall method is good for those projects where the changes are not likely happening quite often. This is for a stable system. Something is stable where you can go and use this waterfall method. On other hand, agile method, Agile method is suitable, ideal for projects with dynamic and evolving requirements, where frequent feedback and rapid delivery are essential. Agile, why? Because it is iterative and incremental. You are developing something and then you are moving to next. Agile emphasizes iterative development and incremental delivery of software in short cycle known as sprints. It is flexible. It has the collaboration with different parties such as developer, tester, stakeholders. Key practices. So now you can see that this Scrum is very popular word. Scrum. People are searching for someone who knows a Scrum. Scrum, Kabana. At least these two are very popular. Scrum and Kabana. Key practices: Kanban, not Kabana. Kanban. These are the important. Scrum is something like is very important for I think for project managers also they are looking for a Scrum knowledge and all. Anyways, Kabana, extreme programming and popular frameworks such as Agile. So you can see that this is dynamic. This is some sort of sequential and fixed suitable for the system. They are not likely to change daily or frequently. This is suitable for projects which are dynamic and rapid deliveries are essential. Now you know that two different part of development, like two different sides of development. Waterfall is almost the reverse of this agile. One method is fixed, going sequentially. Other method is not that fixed, it's dynamic, and it is using the incremental method, iterative and incremental method. Now this lean methodology, what it is doing, elimination of waste, focus on minimizing waste such as unnecessary process, delays, defects, oversubscription, improve efficiency and value for delivery. Continuous improvement, emphasizes continuous improvement through Kaizen. Again, different names will be there. Practices with lean tools like Zit and Kanban. So this is also using Kanban. The agile method is also using Kanban. Suitability, it is well suited for project focus on efficiency, value delivery, and continuous improvement, often used in conjunction with agile process. So this can be used, this and this can be used together, right? Because this is also focused on the agile method only, but it is focused more on the value delivery and it is focused on the efficiency. So this is obviously suited for important projects where the projects are maybe government projects or some other project where you don't want to have mistakes. Your efficiency should be very high, very good. Now you can see the list here. I told you that I have a table. If you go through this list, you'll understand most of the things like waterfall, sequential, agile, iterative, lean, focus on the eliminating waste and continuous improvement. So these three methods are there, and then you can see the suitability. This is for some project which is not changing more. This is for dynamic. This is suitable for the project where you want the exact output, the efficient output, and then you can see the tools and all those things, right? So this is a summary chart in between three. I think you have some overall idea how exactly these methods are working. If you have anything, any point, any doubt, you can raise here. So for sure that people will not use waterfall, but there are systems which are rigid. They are rigid because they don't want to change. They don't want to change frequently, because when you are changing frequently, there may be risk. Change may improve something, may break something. So that's why there are some methods which is fixed and they are rigid. They are rigid because they want to run the operation. They don't want these frequent changes. So on those, this waterfall method is suitable for them. Some stable organization, they don't want to do changes quite often. So obviously that is following the waterfall method. New companies, they can go and use the lean method and agile method because they have to add the patches, delete the patches and all those things. But again, you can see that the same thing in this table format, so you can read it properly. Here maybe the fonts are very small, but here again you can go and read this. You can go and read this. Okay, after that we have 1.5. 1.5, what is the agenda? Explain. Again, these are the theoretical topics. Explain the benefit of organizing the code into function, classes, modules. This thing actually we know, right? We know that if you use functions, classes, modules, then your reusability will increase. You can see here the advantages that modularity and reusability will increase if you use more classes, more functions, modules. Readability and maintainability will increase. It will be easy to maintain because you have your code in different pieces. So maintainability will be easy. Then encapsulation and abstraction. We know that this is a feature of OOB, object-oriented programming. By default, they have the abstraction and encapsulation methods. By default, it will be there. And since you have all these features, then obviously it is scalable and extensible. You can scale your program. If in your program you have the modularity, if in your program you have the classes, within the classes you're defining the functions, so you're following the standard approach, then obviously your program will scale, right? Your program will scale, and this is actually a very interesting factor. So what you are doing, that you have the modules in your program. So if you have modules in your program, the program will scale, and same thing we are using in the SDN system as well. So you will see that in our networking SDN system, for example, Cisco SD-WAN we manage. We have different type of management plane. We have different type of control plane. We have different type of data plane. We are not mixing everything in one device. So in that way, what we are doing, that we are making this management plane, and then you know that we have some orchestration plane as well. That is nothing but your vbond, right? In terms of SD-WAN, nothing but we manage. I'm correlating this. Why? Because if you correlate, these are the edge, they are the edge devices, like edge, branch edge or something like that. I'll write here branch edge. Okay, so like that you can see in our networking also we are breaking different type of areas in different type of work. Like that you can see that we are following the modularity approach. So we have different type of management plane, orchestration, control plane and data plane. So if one plane will go down, other plane, even they do not have the impact. That means it's not something that the modular approach that you are using, right? Modular approach, that means you are defining the classes and functions. So if one function or one class or functions within one class will go down, that means your entire piece of code will go down. This will not happen because maybe they are dependent, but maybe some of the classes functions are in not dependent. Like that means that dependency is not there from one class to other class. That means if one class is not working, other class can work. Still your code will work, and then it will give you the scalability. So later on, I can go and add more data plane devices, more control plane devices, more management plane devices. Why? Because my solution is modular and they are independent of each other. They are the independent body although they have the dependency, but still they can grow independently. At least I can add more VSmart, more vManages, more vBond, more data plane devices. And since they are part of system, tomorrow if I have to go and add one more data plane device, I can go and simply add, and I am not dependent upon the this. So I will not do any changes in this area. Simply I will go and add one extra or two more extra boxes, and like that this system is supported. So this will also get supported, and this will also join the fabric, and it will work like that. Here also in this approach, you can go and add more number of modules, more number of functions, packages, so it can grow. The program can grow, right? So now you can see that the benefits I have added here. So modularity and reusability. Obviously, reusability of the code. One code you can use again and again with different type of arguments. So create it as a generic function and then reuse it. Obviously, when you develop the program, you put some notes there, some remark there. So readability and maintainability means that if some other guy will go and read our functions and program, he should understand. So the definition of classes and modules will be in a way that someone can understand our program as well, because this is very much readable format. The program development is in a way that anyone can go and check the classes and the function and understand the flow of the program. All object oriented program, they have the encapsulation and abstraction feature. And then the scalability, we have already discussed about the scalability, right? So far so good. You have any doubt, you can ask. Theory is just
Are we
theory,
going,
right?
are we
Yeah.
going to have like an example of how to use a class?
Yeah, so these are just the theory, and the software that we will develop. Obviously, we are following
Okay.
all these parameters. We are following the agile methods. When we develop the program, we'll follow the agile or lean method. And in our program, in our assignment, you will see that the program is in a way that it has the module functions classes. Within classes, you will see so many different functions. Like that, we will follow the approach. This is something that we should know, that what different options are present in the market and how we can approach. Different organization has different type of approach to develop their project, right? So this is very much like project model as well. If you check the PMP courses and all, they will tell you about the waterfall, lean, agile methods, etc. Because this is very much like project development as well. Yeah, so in future when we'll do the assignment, we'll develop the program. Our program will be modular. You will see the modularity in the program, and any time you can go and add new functions and new type of modules within the program. So likewise, we have one more theoretical topic, that is the MVC, model view controller. Now this is very easy. I'll explain you why this is easy. I'll explain, you will understand everything. After that, we have important topic related to Git version control. So that's great. This topic is very interesting because this is very much like just now I explained you about the SDN approach, software defined networking approach. And we can compare this method, like this method, this design pattern with our SDN, and we'll understand more about this. So you can see that the name, first of all, this is in the agenda 1.6. that you have to identify the advantages of common design pattern, MVC and observer, right? The design pattern for MVC. MVC is nothing but model view controller pattern, and then we have the observer. Now, what exactly is this? Model view controller, three pieces, right? MVC, model view controller, and this is not new thing. I'll tell you why. Model, data and business logic. Think of a model as a central database or the data store in your topology. It stores all the data and the business logic of your system, similar to how centralized servers store and manage the information. So model is nothing but the business model. At the moment you think as your database. Then view, user interface. The view represents the user interface or front end of your application. It's like the end device, like computer, smartphones, where the users are interacting with the database. So again, I'll explain you about this. User can interact with the database. So model and view. Then what is controller? User input handling. Controllers are like routers or switches in your topology that manage the flow of data between the users. Controller are nothing but network and the central database. They handle user input such as clicks, commands, etc., 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 etc. So what exactly this model is this? That you have one. Have you heard about three-tier approach? Three-tier application approach? You know that? What is this? Three-tier architecture.
No, I haven't.
In network, you may heard three-tier architecture such as core, distribution, and access layer. Core layer, access layer, distribution layer, right? Likewise, in application also, we have three-tier architecture that is termed as a web app DB. Web app DB. DB is for database. DB. So when users they are logging, suppose I have to go and use, for example, google.com. So what I will do? I'll go to google.com as a web browsing option, right? Now within google.com, if I go and request some feature, suppose I have AdSense account in Google, and in that AdSense account, I have some option, a small option that I can edit the revenue and charges and all those chart and flow and all. So that means from web, I will go and request some features in my Google AdSense account. So from web, I can go, I have the username and a password for my AdSense account. I can log into the AdSense app, Google AdSense app, where I can go and do some changes as well. But if I do some changes, I have one ID like 123. I am one of the user for AdSense. I have one ID like that. Google may have thousands of ID that they will go and store where in the database, right? So in the app level, if I do some changes, obviously it will go and store where in the database. Other easy example, net banking. When we are doing net banking, then we are logging to our net banking portal. So you are using web interface. Then you can go and see all the transactions and all those things. Suppose if you have to go and request for new credit card, you can go to your net banking. Once you are inside the net banking, there are so many different options like take personal loan, credit card, do the repayment, do the credit card payments and all those things. Multiple options will be there, right? That is nothing but the app. But if you do any changes in the app, it will save somewhere in the central database somewhere. So this is a three-tier approach. Now this three-tier approach is very much correlated here. Like web is nothing but your view and DB is nothing but the model. In between app, loosely you can tell that this is the controller, but better example we have in this definition, that this is your business, model is your business. So model is your business, like, and then you have the controller. Actually in between we should have the controller, because who is who is communicating in between model and the view? View is the client view. Client can see this. So when we are logging to the web browser, I can go and see the Google web browser. That's the view. That's the view for the client. And then the controller we have that can go and interact with the model. So in between we have some apps, because from web we can go and check the apps, and then we can go and interact with the database. That is nothing but your model. You're able to understand this logic. Is easy, right? How things are divided.
Yep.
One question you can ask here, that do we need this controller, like the middleware, input handling? Can't we have two-tier architecture like web and DB? Like from here we can go and access the database. In that case, you are not providing security. So you should not directly connect to the database. Generally, what is happening, that we are creating firewall rules in between this and this. So everything is not prevented from the web to controller, and then everything is not permitted from controller to the model. Why? Because if you go and log into the web and do some request to the controller will go and send that request or the feedback to the model. And then we have the return path as well, because I want some output as well, some acknowledgement as well. So if you go and add some more layer in between view and the model, that means that it will be more secure. That's why we are actually, these are the defined patterns. These are the use patterns that we are discussing here. These are the patterns that companies are using. These are the methods that corporates they are using to build their programs, to build their actually business, not only program, the business. Now, if we use this MVC pattern, what is the benefit we have? Separation of concern. You have three different components, and you have divided and you are developing these three different uh, departments independently. Code reusability will be there. It will be scalable. Maintainability will be there. Pattern development will be there. That's the thing. That's the thing we have discussed. Like if you have this controller approach, like you have different type of data plane, you have different type of control plane, then in that approach, obviously your program, you will get time to develop the program, right? That's why we have this type of, that's why actually the SDNs are popular, this software defined network. If I have some slide, this is the approach. Now in this approach, yeah, now here you can see in this approach, if I can go and segregate the MVC, model, view and control, where all these things will come. So obviously in this diagram, as per this SDN reference, obviously your view will be this, the data plane, right? Because here, for example, users can interact. Although as per the logic, these devices are the control, because these devices are there who can go and connect with the database. So in my case, suppose this is my database, my vManage is my database, that is the model. So in between any devices, any loop, any type of connectivity, right? Any type of connectivity will work as a control. Now with this approach, what will happen? That it will be modular, readable, in it has the abstractions, scalability, and then extensibility, etc., etc. It will give you all sort of features that is required. So I hope that you understood these theoretical things. As per our agenda, we have to understand different type of software development methods: waterfall, agile, lean, nested planning. You can see in the diagram as well how it is. Lean is something that you're defining the value, mapping the value stream, create the flow, establish the full. This is one of the cycle for one of the model, like that. The approach will go and increment, right? Then you can see nested planning. I have added one more, that strategic plan, product value streams, product roadmap, release program, iteration is sprint plan, daily plan is scrum meeting. Like that, the companies, they are following this strategy. Even if we have some changes, how we are doing the change? You have some ITSM tool, you are doing some planning, you are creating one change ticket where you are uploading what is the pre-checks, and even after closing, means at the time of closure of the ticket, you are adding the post-check as well. So what is the earliest stage and what is the stage after the implementation? So initial state and the final state we are putting there. Now in the change ticket, so you can see that we have some strategic plan. Again, this is related to product anyways. So in this change ticket, what you are doing now, that you are uploading that what are the activities you want to do, and if that activity something will need some maintenance window, as per the criticality, as per the activity, you are taking some maintenance window or downtime like 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, etc. So all these things you already plan. So before going for the actual implementation, you are doing everything in the back, right? You are creating the change tickets to document that. In that, you are putting all those things that you want to develop this things, right? And then you are doing the implementation. It's still, but while doing the implementation, if you have some error, if you have some issue, then you can roll back. So you always have some backup plan, rollback plans, right? Like that, these are the models. Like that, these models are working as well, that they have the cycle that they can move forward, and then they have the feedback loop as well. If something will go wrong, they can come back from there, improve it, and again it can go to the forward direction. So these are the topics that we have discussed today. Important topic. Now next topic we have related to version control. I will discuss version control for next 2-3 minutes, and then we'll stop. Why versioning is important? First of all, why it is important? And yes, we have different type of tools for version control. So when you are developing the software, right, in your team you may have 10 or 15 members. These 10-15 members, they are working on different modules, different functions, right? And then these software engineers or developers, they can go and integrate their package to the same software. So if someone will go and update the package, he can go and mark it that version 1.1. Next time, if someone can go and do some change, 1.2, then 1.3, 1.4. Now, if something wrong will happen to 1.4, so since you have the storage, you have saved your state 1.3, you can go back to 1.3. So that means you will not lose the track. So you don't want to jump from 1.1 to 1.6. You have all those versions saved, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, etc. And you know the output as well for different versions. Since you are doing the versioning control, collaboration is easy, backup and rollbacks are easy, recovery is easy because you are taking the backup for all the state of the development. And that's the reason this is important. So if we do the version control, it will do the history tracking, collaboration, branching and merging, code integrity, code review by the peers, rollback and reverse, parallel development, different developers can parallelly develop and patch it, and the documentation. This is also very important. Documentation. Serve a documentation for project history, fostering transparency and communication. You can see this with version control, we have these many features or these many advantages, and we can go and utilize these advantages to fastly build the code, because now you're working as a collaboration, right? So that means that code development will be fast and code review will be fast. All the developer, they are reviewing their code. It's easy to review their own code, right? So that is there. So that's the benefit. You can see the history, collaboration, merging, code integrity and all that we can do via the version control. And next class we will go and learn about, this is the lab we have related to Git, that how we can go and do these operations related to the version control and what options we have. We'll see that. This is one of the lab tasks that we'll do, and then we'll move to the next topic. All right. Thank you. Thanks for joining. Day number 3, you can see the agenda we have. I'll go and cover 1.8, and after that, you will see that we will move to section number 2, where we have to understand the API. The entire section is related to API. What is API? How we can go construct the API? How we can go and troubleshoot the API? You can see all these topics here related to API. This is very important topic because in future you want to use this automation and you want to use take advantage of these APIs. These APIs, they are coming with the platform, so you can go and check the platform and the API, and with that those APIs you want to do the coding. So all the scripts, we will use this API to perform the script and task. This API related lab obviously will go and perform tomorrow, but the topics that you can see here, they are very important and basic to understand the flow, to understand how APIs, they are working behind the scene. Okay, so that's the topic number 2 for today. We'll see that how much we can go and cover within the API. Now 1.8. 1.8, we have to understand about the Git repository and how we can perform the operations related to that. Now what is happening that you are in a development, suppose that you are developing some software, right? Suppose this is the software module I'm writing, and in this software package there are different type of modules, module 1, 2, and sometimes in one module you have sub modules, package within package. You are developing the software, and not only you, maybe different members, they are developing different modules. So this is developed by someone, this is developed by someone, this is developed by someone. So they work for 1 week or 1 month and they have developed some code. So that means the state of code will change. Suppose this is version 1.1, within the main program, and you have some modules as well. But after 1 week or 2 week, you have done some changes and you want to save that changes as 1.2, then 1.3. Some sub-modules someone is working and he want to give update, like suppose this is 1.1, 1.1a, and suppose this is 1.1b module, and this is suppose 1.1c, and this is suppose 1.1c1, and this is 1.1c2. Likewise, you have the modules. So not only the entire program, but the sub modules, module within modules also. If someone can go and update, so everyone should notify within that cycle. So different teams that those are handling these packages and development, they should get notified. So how they can go and get notified? For that, we are using something called Git repository. Different type of repositories are there, not only Git, but we have the Bitbucket also and others also. But the most you can say the famous and most widely used repositories are Git and Bitbucket. So what generally they are doing, the programmers, developers, that once they do any changes, after that they are pushing it to the repository. This repository is nothing, but it's common for all the programmers as per their username and password. Because here also you have so many things. So many things means that you have control that how much the programmer can see, how much they can read or write. Those capabilities we have to this Git repository. And apart from that, one very important concept that later on you will understand, that is related to CI/CD pipeline. CI/CD pipeline. So these repositories, and again, you will see that different tools are there for CI/CD, but these repositories are there. They are helping in continuous improvement, continuous development, CI/CD. So how they are connected with this CI/CD, we'll see that later on. But yeah, options are there. Now you can see that various options that we have, that we can clone something, we can add, remove something, you need to commit. So you have done some changes, you commit. While committing, in commit, you can put a notes that 1.1a updated successfully by XYZ. So if someone will go and check that, oh, 1.1a, and obviously when you save something, they will give you some number in this repository. You can go to that number, the hash number or some hexadecimal number type of number you will get. There you can go and click, and you can see that while doing the development commitment, everything was okay or not, if some error is there or not, etc., etc. Like, merge and handling conflicts. There are some errors issue handling this merge or push or not. Those things you can check. So while committing, you can go and put notes that 1.1a, this module updated or committed successfully by this engineer, like that. So if someone can go and see that changes as well, then you can push something, you can pull something. Not only you can upload something in the script, you can pull as well. You can create the branches, module under module. So this is nothing but branches. Then you can check the merge. Error handling mechanism is there, like you can do some troubleshooting as well within this Git. And finally, you can go and run the diff command as well, like two different version, how many line items are different. You can go and check that. These are the versioning controls we have. And in terms of configuration and all, it's actually very easy. So I can go and open any type of global repository, and I can clone in my local system as well. Anyway, this lab tomorrow we are going to perform. So I will show you more about this. These lab tasks, you can see as it is, we will perform. I can clone even in my if I open my command prompt, and let me copy one Git file from SDWAN. So I am in second window. I just wanted to copy one. Let me show you that. So there is one Git repository. You can see from GitHub. You can go and create your free account here. You can see all those codes and everything. This is related to SD-WAN API, right? So here you can see the code. I can go and copy this. Okay. I have copied that URL and I can, since in my laptop I have this Git install, the software install. So simply I can do Git clone and then I can paste the URL, the Cisco SD-WAN URL, press enter. Now it is cloning, getting us started with Cisco SD-WAN APIs. I can do the CD and I can go within that folder and I can see that what are the things we have within that folder. So you can see that in that folder we have the get request, login and all those things. Suppose if I want to see the login.py, you can see the script, right? So this is this, like you can clone the entire repository, entire code, directory, subdirectory folders from the global location with this command, right? Then add remove, if you want to add something, git add filename.txt, add dot, this will actually to add files to the staging area for commit. Use git followed by the name or dot, means it will add everything, all the files. You can specify the one file name that you want to add, or if you want to add everything, you can do git add dot, it will add everything. If you want to remove any file name, you can use the rm command. So git rm, remove that file name. If you want to commit something, you can say this is the very important thing. If you want to commit something, so commit, give the message -m, commit message here, whatever. So 1.1a updated successfully by XYZ engineer. You can give that as a message, right? Then you can push, you can pull, then you can create new branch, you can check out, and you can go and check the source branch, merge and handling conflicts. So git merge source branch, you can go and check that conflicts. Finally, you can go and check the diff. Diff will give you difference between two files. So git difference commit #1, commit #2, like that. Okay. So the examples are very easy. You have to use git, and after that git you can go and use different keywords, different keywords such as a diff, merge, branch, checkout. Widely used commands are commit, add, sometimes they are removing, and this clone commands. These are the topics we have. Anyways, I will show you all these things in the lab section that we will perform tomorrow. Okay, any doubt in this?
Good.
All right, no problems. And anyways, I'll show you in the lab. I have actually local Git repository as well. So when we are talking about that, okay, you can go and push the configuration to some repository, right? Now, there are use cases that people, they don't want to push the configuration to the global public area, right? So in that case, what you can do, that you can have your own repository server, like you can install your own Git server in private server, like, within the premises. So that code is visible only within that premises. That code will not go to the cloud or some other places, right? So those options we have. Likewise, I have one lab where I can show you that, okay, I have installed this Git within the lab itself, and you can also replicate Git in your lab also. But the concept here is this, that is within the premises. Otherwise, what you need to do, that you have to purchase the license for the Git, or maybe from the Bit bucket. They will provide you license, and then they will tell that, okay, this is very much like your private infrastructure, although it is hosted somewhere in the cloud, right? So that approach also people are using. Either they have their own private server where they are doing the version control, or they are using some public cloud. In that public cloud, those vendors like Git or Bitbucket, they will provide you the versioning control. They have their own customer base type of versioning control, like different customers, they are giving different services with some API keys and all those things. Okay, all right. Let's move on from here, and let's move to the very important topic that we have related to API, application programming interfaces. Now, to configure the devices, we have three options. Option number one, you can go and use the CLI, command line interface. Option number two, you can go and use GUI, graphic user interface. Option number three, you can go and use API. Right? Now, people are moving from CLI. Why people has moved from CLI? Although all the troubleshooting is still you are doing via CLI, because CLI is fast. Because this is little bit slow for operational tasks. Suppose if you have to go and configure hundreds of routers or switches, then via CLI you have to go and log in one by one and then complete the task. Then comes the GUI thing. GUI thing become popular. Why? Because if you see the security appliances like firewall, IPS IDS sensors, those appliances, in terms of security configuration, you have to, if you do that via CLI, you have to type hundreds of CLI command. So you can see the concept of controller and the edge nodes. Controllers and edge node means, for example, Palo Alto. They have Panorama, and then they have the firewalls, Cisco Firepower. They have FMC, Firewall Managed Console, and then they have FTDs, like the devices hosted at data center different branches, right? So from one controller type of device, GUI type of device, you can go and manage hundreds of firewall. What you need to do, that create the policies and push to the connected firewalls. So in that regard, GUI become very popular. Apart from that, other example for GUI example, maybe Cisco SD-WAN we manage, Cisco DNAC. Nowadays, Cisco SD-WAN is Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN, and DNA is also Cisco Catalyst DNA. So these Catalyst SD-WAN and DNA product, they are very popular because they have very user-friendly GUI interface. Then the third option, we have API. Companies, they are moving to API. Why? Because if you have repetitive operational tasks such as iOS upgrade, such as compliance monitoring and management, like the devices, their configuration management, sometimes it is referred as a TCM, configuration management, and T is like sometimes it is referred as a technical configuration management, etc. But yeah, configuration management, operational task, sometimes troubleshooting as well. You can have a script. Now those Python related scripts, or any language, maybe Go language, integrated scripts and all. Mostly Python is very popular because it is fast. It is a interpreted level language. So for example, we are integrating APIs within the Python, right? So in that regard, the APIs, because APIs they are directly interacting to the devices. API is something like machine language, and it is like machine to machine. So one machine can give the instruction to other machine, like that APIs are working. So it is very fast. Although with CLI and GUI, what is happening? You are writing something and then it is converting to the machine level. But in the APIs, they are itself the machine language, and machine language can interact with the machine language. Now, in terms of networking, we have inbuilt APIs, but the API use is wide. For example, if we want to see the hotels nearby your area and their prices, so you may go to Google and you can type, okay, uh, least price hotel in my area. So what Google is doing, Google, they are sending the API calls to different hotels. So Google is doing query on behalf of us. So 10 or 15 or 20 of hotels, they will send that query. And this is very much like dynamic. So they are sending all those queries and then they are sending the response that, see, in my area, these many rooms are empty and this is the price. Then Google, after collecting those information, so Google is sending API to get the information of the hotels and rooms and prices. It is getting some output. Then that output within the same program, that output, again, they have the logic, some programming logic. They are filtering that nearby location and the prices, and then it is displaying in our Google screen that this area, this hotel, this price, this price, this price. Why it is so fast? Because they are using API. APIs, they are working very much like web browsing. Like we are doing HTTPS access, like that APIs are working. They are very fast and they are machine level. Let's understand this more. You can see the topic. Construct the API request and accomplish a task given API documentation. API documentation is there. All the vendors, all the uh, for example, Cisco SD-WAN, Cisco DNAC, Cisco ACI, all these SDN solution, they have their API documentation. I think we have later on we have lab related to SD-WAN. I will show you the documentation. At least one example I will show you that how this document look like in the upcoming session in the lab area. So you will understand more about that. Okay, so read the API document. They are coming with hundreds or thousands of APIs. APIs are nothing but the instructions. Identify the task, construct the request, send the request. Now there are different type of tools. There are different type of tools that we can go and use it to run the API. So one tool is curl. This is CLI based API response tool. Then one is GUI based tool, that is Postman. You can install Postman within your system. This is also very interesting tool, Postman, where you can go and execute the APIs. And then you can integrate API with any type of programming language. In our example, suppose Python. We are going to use Python programming to integrate the API, but you can run the API with curl. You can run the API with Postman. You can run the API with the script, embedded script. So that means you can construct the request via curl, via Postman, or via Python script, construct the request, and then you can send the request. Obviously, after that, you will get the response, right? Now, before moving further, since I have copied some code from the GitHub, you can see here one of the example related to API construction. At the moment, again, you will not understand all these line items and all. Later on, I'll explain each and every line in this. But point here is this, that you can see that you have some URL. right? You can see the URL. Now this URL, this base URL string, we are putting inside the logging URL. So that means I want to surf some website, because URL means you can give www.google.com, right? So you have some URL, right? Now with that URL, then what you are doing, this logging URL, you are putting in some query like post. We'll learn about that, different type of methods related to HTTPI, for example, RESTconf or netconf, etc., etc. You'll understand everything. But you can see that we are using this URL with some login data and negating the certificate, because whenever you run HTTPS request, you will get some certificate warning, certificate is not installed, etc. So we are making this false. I am not checking the certificate warning. Make this false. So I have some login data. What is this login data? Nothing but the username and password. So you can see the data here. You can see the login data here. What is this? Username, password. You can see the username, password. So I have the URL. I have the username, password. I am negating the certificate, and that is nothing but my post call. This is my post API related method where I want to log into the devices. If this is successful, it will tell you that, oh, I am successful. I am successfully logging to vManage, right? If it is not successful, then it will throw error, login failed. So if I go here and run this, for example, at the moment, we don't have any SD-WAN connected, etc. So this will throw error. First of all, it will try to reach to this particular URL. This S stand for string here, this IP. Maybe the variables are not set and all. But anyways, I'm going to show you these examples later on. This is just to show you that, okay, you have some function. And this is not the full function. This is just the definition. In this program, I should go and call some main program, or simply I can go and I should call this somewhere. So that's why it's not executing. Anyways, it's just an example. I'm going to show you this example later on in our lab task. Point here is this, that these APIs are very much working like the HTTP method. So here you will see that they have different type of methods like get. This is equivalent to show command. So you can see the methods here that we have. Get means show run command, like we are running in the Cisco CLI. Then you have post. Post means that creating an object. This is something to create. Put. It is something like you're updating an object. And then finally you can say delete means delete. You are deleting an object. So these are the top 4 methods you have, but this list is not that small. There are other methods as well, but these are the popular one. Mostly in our program, we are going to use these 4 methods only. To create something, to delete something, to update something. So we are going to use these methods in our program. That's why it is telling that read the API document. So I will open the API document for you tomorrow, that I will go and add in the lab task, that we have to go and read the API document, and we'll go and check these methods. I will show you that how we can go and read this from the API document. Then next task is this, the identify the task. Identify the task means that what you want to do. You want to print some result, you want to create some new thing, you want to update the existing object, or you want to delete something. So that's the identification of the task. Then construct the API. Construct the API. While you're constructing the API, you should have the base URL, you should have the content type, you should have the authorization, you should have the username and password, and then only you can go and build it. So here you can see this is the build phase. Here you can see that you have the URL, you have the username, password, and then this is your API call. This is where if you go and run this program, this will get executed and then it will return either success or failure. So then you have to send the request, right? And then I have shown one example here, like username and password. Let me go back. Yeah, you can see that endpoints, post, content type. And if this is the script, if you run this script, then this result will come. This is the request and this is the response. Let me see if I have Postman in my, oops, Postman. Let me, Postman I don't have in my system. I have deleted that post. Just give me 1 second. Install Postman. This is something that is based on GUI and developed by Cisco. Cisco has developed this software. Let me try to download and install in my laptop. Or even if you have, if you have this access, I think I have, you can work on this tool via the web access as well. Okay, let me try to log in. I think I have the web access as well. You can install in your laptop as well. Just a second. So I log in via my Gmail account. Once you log in, let me clean this stuff. Setting, and you can see Ratnesh Kumar 721. Close this. Home. API network workspace. Generally, this tool, the developer, they are using it for testing purpose. If we have to go and test something, some APIs, some calls, then you can go and use it. And then you will create the, you will go and create the program where you can go and utilize the result that you are getting, the API result that you are getting from the Postman. Let's see. Okay, so I'm using this web-based tool, and then it is telling that create the team, workspace, reports, REST API basics, then API documentations. How to use that template. So this is actually a nice platform where you can go and learn various things. You can set the environment, and I can upload something as well. You can see on top import. I have some packages related to SD-WAN, DNA, firewall, the APIs collection. I can go and import that. Let me run this, install this in my laptop. This is web access. Let me install it. Now I'm installing it in my laptop. Let's do that. It will take some time to get installed. Ratnesh Kumar, allow it. Let's go here and try to install. Your CCNA account is okay. Sign out from my, I think, web access. Anyways, I'm installing it my laptop. Let's install it. Sign up for free. Switch to Lightweight API client. Asking me sign in. Let me sign in. It is asking these many sign-ins again and again. So let me show you that in sign-in page, showing like this. Sign in from your browser to continue. So it is telling me to sign in from the browser. I am signing in from my browser. Okay, maybe the email address. Let me try .com. The password is correct. Oh, pin Postman. So I signed in via browser to open my local tool, software tool hosted in my laptop. My sign in is successful. Now it is opening in my laptop. Let's see. You can see very much the same that we have in the web browser. And if I try to import something, you will get all those things, import options and all. There are so many nice libraries that you can go and import. So once I click to the import button, then it is coming here. I have that folder. I want to import the folder where I have the Postman related folder. Let me see where it is. SDWAN APIs. I think this is the folder. See files and folders. It's a little bit slow. It will take some time to get uploaded. Once it will get uploaded, then you can see that particular SD-WAN we manage related all the APIs, right? Somehow it got hanged. My system got hanged. Okay, no problem. These uploads also we'll see. You can also install this Postman. I will give you some JSON. That file is in the JSON format that you can upload here and you can test few things. Later on, you can go and build your Postman folders. I have the Postman where I have the APIs folder related to almost all the project. SDWAN, Meraki, NSOs, DNA, everything I have. Now you can see it is little bit slow, but it is telling us that we are reaching 167 files. It is trying to upload. Maybe the folder I am uploading is very big. So it is trying to upload that. Once it will get uploaded, you will see everything here in a folder format. So let's go back to the theory. Let's allow this some time to get uploaded. Meanwhile, we'll go and check few slides. I will not cover more than 3-4 slides. We'll stop because this is very complicated topic actually, this API learning. You should understand each and everything related to API before moving further. So I'll go slow in this. Make sure that you're understanding everything. So in High Point, what these APIs are the instructions. They are the instructions. They are working on the application layer. The method of API is very much like HTTP method. HTTP methods are what? They are get, post, put, delete. Like that they are working. So while you're constructing the API, you should go and check the APIs, what exactly you want from the API. You can create the request. While creating the request, you have option. You can go and use the CLI method, curl method. You can go and use the Postman. That's the GUI form, and or you can go and use some scripting with Python. So these methods you can go and use to construct the request, and then you can send the request. Means you can go and run that program, or from Postman you can click send, or from curl you can go and run that program, right? So these are the important portions we have to do the construction. I will show you this construction within the Postman, how it look like. Once you go and run this, you will get some result. Then we have 1.2. I'll not go to webhook today. We'll stop here. We'll try to understand this format today, how to run this, at least in the Postman. So let's see where we are in the Postman install. Let me end the presentation. We are installing this Postman. I think it has some issue, no problem. Let me go and one more time. And API, code samples, images, webhooks, docs. Where is my, okay, let me do one thing. Let me go to the files instead of folder. Okay, if I go here, these are my programs. Here is my Postman. These are my programs. Let me do one thing here. Let me go to my drive and let me search with Postman. I have Postman related file as well. Postman. You can see this JSON file. Let me try import. Import. So now you will see that I have imported the Postman, and I can see the collection, user collection. Now you can see the SD-WAN, reservable, SD-WAN, etc. You can see folder related authentication, fabric devices, template, policy. If I go and open this authentication, you can see this post and get. What are these? These are the methods. These are the API methods, right? So if I click here, you will see one URL. So on top, you can see the URL and J security check. And if I click the second one, you will see that this is the API I want to run. So if I have my vmanage and if I have my port set, I can go and execute this API. To execute this API, what you need to do, this is get related API. I need to click this send button. Now at the moment, we don't have anything set. This vmanage that you are seeing here, this is set as a variable. So I don't have, at the moment, I haven't reserved the SD-WAN cloud or something. Maybe my cloud, or you have open sandboxes as well. Those URL I will give you later on, that you can execute these programs in open sandbox with some URL, some port number. Port may be 8443 or 443, but you need to set the variable. You need to set these values. Where you can go and see this, let me show this. So if you come here, this portion, you can see on top, no environment set. So you need to set the environment for these variable, because double parenthesis in Postman, that means some variable. Or you can hard code it. If you know the exact IP, you can give 192.168.1.10 colon colon 443. If you have that server, it will execute it. But then in that case, it is not generic. If you want to make some generic request, you want to set the environment. So here you can see, I can go here. Now what happened here, you can see I have set the environment as a Cisco reservable environment that you want to see. Here you can see a small I is here. I can have a look. So now you can see that vmanage IP is set as 10.10.20.90. Username is admin, password is this, port is this, and then this is the token. Now this is not a reachable IP, but now if I scroll here, now you can see it is telling that vmanage IP is 10.10.20.90 and the port is 8443, and now you can see the authorization. Let me increase the size here. Now you can see the authorization. You are not setting anything. You can go and choose this basic auth. You can give the username, admin, password, suppose Cisco 12345. Then you can see the body. Once you run the script, it will tell you the result about that. So let's do one thing. Now we have all the parameters and authorization set. Auth type is basic auth. I can click send. Now it will try to reach this particular vmanage whose IP is 10.10.20.90, and then it will try to execute this and it will try to get the token, right? Get the token. Why you want the token? This token is important for future work. So using this token, so now you can see we are running one API. This API will go and get me the token. Now I will use this token to execute other API, because if you run any API, it will ask you some token. You have validity. Yes, this token is valid for maybe 60 minutes. So till 60 minutes, you can go and use this token to run other APIs, right? So now if you go here and see the body, let me show you this. Not setting, header is okay. Raw data and raw data in the JSON format. Anyways, it will not give you any result because I need to set some variable and that I will show you. The result I will show you tomorrow in the lab section. But how it is working, very much you can understand from this. We are doing some API calls. You can see the post method and you can see the get method like that. If I go to second folder, you can see get fabric devices. Now, what is the API for this? HTTPS, we manage port number, data service, and then the device. This is the API. This is the API. You want to get the devices, the list of the devices belonging to the vManage whose IP is 10.10.20.90, right? So if you run this API, what it will do, it will go and give you the list of devices that you have, right? You have any question, any doubt, please feel free to ask in this. Any question you have? Please ask. Your task is this, that tomorrow, please install this Postman in your laptop. Tomorrow I'm going to reserve one sandbox and or I will give you open sandbox URL. So instead of this IP, you can put that IP in your environment and you will get the results. You have to simply go here and click this button called send button. Once you run this, you will get some output that will do perform tomorrow. But to run this in your environment, in your laptop, please install it.
The software is in the share or
This
we
is
have
free
to,
software, like you can
yeah,
search Postman and
okay.
install in your laptop. You can log in by your Gmail account. The base features are free. If you want to do some more development, then you can create account and pay, but it is free tool to do these type of testings that we have. Okay. All right, great. So what we can do now, that I will not go to the this portion. Let's just stop here because this is little bit difficult topic. I just wanted you guys to go slow on this. Section number 2 is very important because this is going to be used in all the SDN related programming, this topic. So let's focus on this and try to understand the API, the calls, webhooks, the error method as well, the response code as well, and all those things slowly. All right, so I'm going to stop here. If you have any question, please feel free. All right, so today our day is reserved for all the lab tasks, and we are going to perform these lab tasks. We are going to build our lab. On that particular lab, we will go and perform different type of automation task. So first of all, what you need one GNS3. This is a freeware that you can download from their website, and then you can follow these steps. What I have done, you can see that in this, you can see one YouTube link. I have one small 30-minute video I have uploaded to YouTube, that how to install GNS3 and Python, etc. to create the lab. So if you go to this particular link is already attached here. If you go here to this particular link and the presentation, you can watch this video. It will
The
tell you.
GNST run inside the some hypervisor or they run
Yeah.
in
So
the
in
Windows side?
this, yeah, in this you will see that I told that you should have these softwares, either VirtualBox or VMware Workstation. And then I have added these steps here. Let me show you this. So you can see the steps. Install GNS3. Go to this software, gns3.com software/download. Create your account, download GNS3 and VM for GNS3. Depend upon your choice of hypervisor. Like we want VMware Player or ESXi or VirtualBox, VMware Workstation, etc., etc. In this install, I have shown VirtualBox, but today I am going to show you over VMware Workstation. In case if you are installing VirtualBox, then you can use this particular link, virtualbox.com download. You can download the VirtualBox. Once ready, install GNS3 and import VM for GNS3 in the VirtualBox. Create your own topology and do the labs. Like these are the steps. These are the steps we have. Even I can go and take a snapshot. And I can add here to our this is our my laptop is little bit slow today. I need to reboot my laptop. Add slide below. Okay, these are the steps. After this class, I'll reboot my laptop. It's very slow because I haven't rebooted my laptop from last few days. This is the video. All these videos and link, everything is here in our document section. Reduce the size. Okay, we are going to follow these steps. Installing GNS3, you can go to their website and install it. Let me show you once you install how this look like. This is GNS3. You can see. Now, once you start this, it will ask you the project name. CCNA dev. Oops. And this GNS3 need one VM as well. So you can see that I have one VM in the same software. Already actually I have uploaded this software in our shared folder in Google Drive. From there also you can take it. So same place you will find that you have GNS3 application and then you have one VM for GNS3. That particular VM you need to install over workstation, and in GNS3 you have to give the path for that workstation. I will show you that. The moment it is asking that this is not supported, so that means I need to go and do something. But let me go and save DNS dev. Oops. Now this is the error we have. Constantly it will ask that your hardware is not supported because of this. Because I'm running in my laptop, maybe this issue you will not face. So you can see that in the laptop my application is running, but VM is not running because of that issue. So I need to go here to edit virtual machine setting, and in that I need to disable that option. So once it will come, my laptop is slow today, but it will come. Now
Which
here
option
in,
you disable, Rakesh? Which option?
yeah, edit virtual machine setting.
Okay.
So you can edit the properties.
I had this always all this error in my machines, always.
Okay. You can go to processor and you can uncheck this virtual Intel
Okay.
default.
Okay.
Okay, make this should be there, should not be there. Okay, shelling already changed. So let me recheck once that change is saved or not. Processor. Oh, this processor. Now you can see this is unchecked. Okay, let me close this. So now if I start this, it will get some IP. Even we have GUI access as well to GNS3, but it is not required. It will get some IP, and you will see that after a few seconds, this red will become green. See here, my RAM utilization is 87%, CPU is 7. RAM is heavily utilized because of some other applications that I'm running in my laptop. So once this will become green, then only we can go and create the topology and all those things. If it will not become green, that means that this will not work. So first task is that it should become green. Let's see what happened to this. Now you can see that it is running and it is getting some IP as well. That's okay. So that's my, so this should also be green. At the moment it is showing red, that means it is not connected. So what option is there to connect GNS3 with this VM? You can go here to the edit. Yeah, you can go to this edit and preferences. If you go there, you will see all those options. Now, after general, you can see the server and GNS3 VM. Let's say GNS3 VM. I can see enable. This should be check mark, enable GNS3 VM. And here it is asking, what is your orchestration plane, or what is your virtualization platform? VMware, VirtualBox, Remote, Hyper-V. So our is VMware. Then in case if you do not have this GNS3 VM virtual machine, you can download. If you click here, they will give you one link. From there, you can go and download that. What's the name of the VM? Our name of the virtual machine, you can see clearly that GNS3 IOU VM. GNS3 IOU VM, that's correct. And rest of the setting, it is telling if I close the application, stop the GNS3 VM, or keep this is running, or suspend, etc. So this is the setting. Now still I can see that this is red. So let me go and close this. Let me stop. I close that. I killed that process, and still it is running. No problem. I'll go and open GNS3 one more time. Again, it will come, it will ask that what is your project name? Please give the project name, and then you can start the project. Now it is trying to connect our port 3080 with GNS VM, GNS3 VM. Asking about the project name, or I can browse CCNA DevNet. Replace it. So now you can see this is there, the name already exists. No problem. But now good thing is this, that you can see that GNS3 VM and the laptop both are green. So no problem. I can go and create a new project. DevNet Lab 1. Now on top you can see that we have the project name. I can expand this. Now we want to create the project. So for that you need some routers. One router you can go and add here, like I have added. You can go to the preferences, and you can see this Dynamics iOS router. I have added one. I'll give you the image. This is the image where it is. See user Ratnesh GNS3 images iOS. Oh, so this is the path. This is the path. Let me go to that path. Let me go to the path and let me show you that path. I need to upload that image, and I need to share with you that image. Then GNS3, GNS3, and then images, then iOS, and here you can see this image, this big image. I have already uploaded. Actually, I have uploaded this file, this bin file. But once you go and upload within GNS3, GNS3 will go and extract that file as a .image file. Right? So how you can add? It's easy. You can click new. Run this iOS router on my local computer. Run this iOS router in GNS. What option is there? Two options are there. I think I am running in my local laptop. Okay, no problem. Click new. Run this in my local. Go next. This is the existing image. .binc. .binary. Go next. I give this number 2 and go next. Next. Then I can go and add some slots. You have multiple options to add more slots. And then the weak interfaces you can go and add. Then you can go and click finish. Now you can see that I have added 2 routers. This was earlier, and this is just now I have added. I can click apply. Once I apply it, then you can see the server is this. This is the platform and all those things. Okay. This is the way that you can go and add the new device. Now, when you have to go and create the topology, best thing that you can come to this option number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Click here. Here you will see all the routers, switches, all the devices. This device just now we have added. Simply drag and drop. You can drag and drop. At the moment it is down, it is showing red. Why? Because we haven't just started. You need to right click and start. But before starting, create your topology. You can use inbuilt Ethernet switch. Then you can go and use this automation server. This is there by default. You can push and try to drop here in this area. It will take time. This automation server, once you drop here in this GNS3, it will take time. Maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes. But after that it will work fine. No problem in that. Meanwhile, it is coming there. I can go and use this NAT as well, NAT cloud. And then there is one more cloud. I can go and use that cloud as well. So this is the actually DHCP server, and this is external cloud. I want to go outside from this network. So for that, I will use this cloud. Why I want to go outside? Because I need to update the packages for my automation server. Now you can see it will take almost 4 or 5 minutes to come here. Now next thing, you want to connect these devices. Easy. Use this connector option. Click
What is the
here.
connector option?
Yeah. Here you have the connection.
Okay.
Simply click and connect. Simply click here and click here, connect. So now once your lab is ready, like once your lab topology is ready, then what you can do, that you can go and start it. Let me close this connector, otherwise it will come again and again. Before starting, you can select all these devices like this. Select this, and in top here we have view option. In that you have show hide interface labels. And then this green button, you can see this green button, that means all the devices will start at once. So I can go and start and all the devices will start. But this automation server that we have here, it needs some IP. Right? So for that, what we can do, that we can go to the automation server there, and there we have this option config. Right click, click config. Oh, it is telling it must get started. So let me select all, start this. I
One
can see
shot, everything is there.
yes, or you can select all devices, start at once, or one by one also you can right click and start, right click and start. This do not need to start. This and this device need to be started. Now again, right click or go to config, right click and choose that config option. Now it is coming. Oops. I don't want to open that device, open that later on, but I just wanted to configure it. So you can see first option is configure, but not like that. I want to give some DHCP configuration. So here from bottom, you can see the fifth option is edit config. If you go to edit config and I want to give IP via DHCP, so I will go and enable this option related to DHCP. Auto ETH0, if interface ETH, and add this from DHCP like that. Just remove those comments, click save. Now Simply click this once and it will open with some putty. Reconnect.
Who provided the ACP?
This will provide
Okay,
the DHCP services.
then not okay.
This NAT one. Here you can see this IP config, IP address. What are the if config, right? If config, interface config. So here you will see that it should get some IP, but it is not getting any IP. Not getting any IP. So what I will do, I can stop these services. And then I can go and start the services.
Or to get from the DHCP?
Yeah, so next time it should get IP from the DHCP server. I see that it is taking some time. It will take some time to get started because this is little bit slow server, but once it will get started, then you can perform all those tasks. Taking too much time to get a start. Now it is there. So now if I go and click open this console, asking me to reconnect. Let me reconnect. Still it is booting. The server is booting. And you can see the if config. If config. So it is taking any IP. I'm not seeing that it is taking any IP. IP address. No, it is not taking any IP address. Let's see. Let's go to edit config. Although I have said that save. Although I have said that to get the IP, but seems this NAT, I think this NAT is not providing any IP. So what I will do, that I'll go to this router one and I'll make this DHCP server as well. Okay, because it's power on, so you can't change the host name, but it's okay. I'll go to this router one, and from this router, I will provide some IP to this automation server, because I can see that this automation server is not getting any IP, but we need to provide the IP. If interface config, you can see there is no IP. No problem. We have multiple options here. Let's click to router number one. If you double click, it will open router number one. And router number one, what interface is connected? Let me increase the font size. Font size to 16 or 18. FA00. Show IP interface brief. FA00 is down. IP address DHCP. Let me see if it will get some IP from the DHCP servers. Oh, it took some IP, see. 192.168.11.159, right? Now what I will do, this also should get some IP. Somehow it is not getting IP. This should get IP. Okay, no problem. What you can do here, that this is the range, right? 192.168. Let's see. Show interface FA0/0. 192.168.11.159/24. Let's go here. Before doing that change, let me console it one more time. Make sure that it didn't get any IP. If config. So you can see that it don't have any IP address here over this ETH0. No IP is there, right? Okay, and let me try to ping this IP, this router. Because IP is not there, it is unreachable. No problem. What we can do, we can go to edit config. And
Oh, it's uncommon, no? This is why they don't get IP.
yeah, I think I should make this as a comment. Okay, once.
Okay.
This is for DHCP. This is for a static IP.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I think this I should not remove this comment. Let me try one more time. Let me save it and console it. It will come. Why open so many instances of automation server? Let me reconnect. Restart. Manually I need to do the restart, so no problem. Let me go here, stop. And start. Now it is starting. It will take maybe 1 minute to get rebooted. Behind the scene, this is Linux based machine. Okay. Meanwhile, I'll go and open the router. So now we have the router and we have automation server. So suppose if it will not take IP, what I will do, I will use the static IP in the same range, 192.168.11. Oh, it got some IP. Great.
116.
If config. Now you can see it is getting that IP. So let me try to ping the router from here. 159. Obviously it will ping, but actually we want to ping the outside gateway. If it is reachable to some outside gateway, that after that only you can go and update the packages, right? So I'll go and update the packages. Let's go back here and see that what are the things we completed. So
Is bridge over your computer to get internet from your laptop?
yeah, so
Okay.
that's why the NAT is there. Oops. What is happening? I don't know. Okay, let me start the presentation. Let's go to slide number 49. So you can install the GNS3 from their website, then create the lab that we have created, step number 2 and 3. And then we need to install these packages. So I will open my automation server. Is running there. Oops, not this one. Let me open it. Where are you? Reconnect. Okay, here you are. So now you have to install the packages. First of all, you can do apt get install. So it is telling it is up to date. Then install the Python 3. This is also up to date. Then, oops, ping is still going on, seems. Try to kill the process. Okay, and then install this Python 3 pip, the package like that. These are the commands that you can run. Then you can go and check the pip3, install the netmiko. Netmiko is there, paramiko, netmiko, those are the packages there to log into the devices. So if you have this netmiko and paramiko packages, then you can go and run the lab that we have done for the Python project.
Right.
It's telling that it has some issue installing this blah blah blah. If you have reachability issue, no problem. I have connected Cisco AnyConnect VPN. That's the reason maybe it is not reaching there. I'll disconnect that and I'll install this package. But in my lab, actually, these packages are already installed. You need to go and install these packages in your system, right? And then you can run any lab, no problem at all. It will work fine. You can go and check the Python 3. You can see here in the Python 3. You can run the commands here with related to Python. Anything you can run. Okay. So far, any doubt, please feel free to ask.
We need to follow this. Rakesh, can you paste in the chat the URL for the video that you have in the YouTube?
Okay, let me get that.
This video explain everything, the same thing that you explained to us, no?
Yeah, same thing is there. Video. Then I'll come back.
put it in the slides.
Head window. Let me paste that. Yeah, done. I pasted that. All right. So once you do that, after that, task number 5 in this lab is to install the Postman. Actually, last session we have done the installation related to Postman. And once you do the install means what? Simply go to the URL, click, 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 it will get installed. There's no much brain on that installing any software, right? Once you install it, then if you open, it will look like this. Let me cancel it so I can show you. Last time we were doing something, last session, if you watch the video, you'll see these things we have done. Let me close this. Let me close this. So you will get this particular page. We have two options that I have explained, that either you can use the web version or you can install it in your local system as well. In both the cases, you have to create your Gmail account or any email account to log into this. Since this is the free version, so it has some less capabilities. If you go and purchase the full version, then they may give you some more features as well. But free version is also good, okay? That with this version, you can go and test the APIs. Now, testing about APIs, we have discussed in our previous session that either we can go and use the CLI method. CLI tool is nothing but curl, C-U-R-L. Curl is the CLI way to test the APIs. But you know that CLI, you need all those big CLI commands. In the CLI itself, you have to give everything like payload, the authentication header and everything. But if you are using such type of GUI method, this is GUI method. This is a Postman developed by Google, and they are using this from last maybe 15-20 years. And after that, they have shared this software to the community. So this software, actually, the owner is Google, but after that, they have shared everyone for public use. Right. So this is one of the tool where you can go and have your APIs. APIs are nothing but HTTP URL with some conditions like some methods like post, delete, get, update, etc. Right? That we have discussed in our previous session. So in case if you missed that, you can watch that previous 40-45 minutes video. You will understand what is API and how it is working and all. We were discussed in the previous session. And we have done only one session related to that, what is API, how it is working. Still, we have some 6-7 more sessions related to APIs. Okay, so you will understand more about that. So now we have the API. So let me go back to the slide, previous day, what we have discussed within the APIs. So let me go there. That was maybe slide number. Okay, after git cloning. Somewhere here. Yeah. Construct a REST API to accomplish a task given API document. So these things I have actually covered. Read the API document, what is the task and all those things. Then there was one example. So let me click here. One example related to API. Here you can see that endpoint, the API is very much like your HTTP URL. So we have some URL and we have one method called post method, and then you should give the header and then you will get the output. So this thing you can read these things in Postman. If I go to Postman and I will give you these folders, what you need to do, you have to go on top. You can see the import button. You have to click to this import button, and then you can import the file and folders. So what I will do, this JSON file, this is nothing but JSON file. I will give you that. Once you import this JSON file, you will see all these folders. You have this folder, it is imported. So let me show you the import one more time. I can go to the import, click files, and I have these Postman files here. You can see one or two. I can select this, click open. Once you go select, click open, then you will see it is telling already exist. What would you like to do? Replace it, import a copy. Just to show you, okay, I'll replace it, no problem. I can see that within this folder, I have folder number 1, 2, 3, like subfolders are there, authentication, fabric devices, templates, policy. Like that, I have these type of programs actually for almost all the networking devices, such as Meraki, DNA, SDWAN, ACI, NSO, firepower. Like that, I have all this API collection of API. But this collection of API is one thing that you want to test it. That with this API, what will be the result and all. Generally, what is happening that people are using these APIs within Python code. So these APIs in future, anyways, will go and test these APIs. Even you can go and create the complex program in Postman as well. So whatever things we are doing via the Python script, we can do via Postman as well. There is no problem. You can go and do all those things that we can do in a script in Postman as well. But generally what we are doing, that we are taking the APIs and putting in the script and developing the script to do certain tasks. Because once you are putting these things in a script, you have more flexibility and options to manipulate the API results, right? So now you can see that, okay, once you have these APIs, collection of API here, and then you want to execute with respect to your SD-WAN. So in this case, this is related to SD-WAN. If I go and click authentication, you can see that on top, this is nothing but one URL to access the API. This URL, the method here, you can see this method is post. You can see different type of methods we have: get, post, put, patch, delete, head, etc. So method here is that post and check the authentication. But vmanage, you can see vmanage is in double parenthesis and port is in double parenthesis. That means that vmanage and the port that we have, they are nothing but the variables. So you have to make sure that the variables that you have, they are pointing to the correct value. So if I put arrow here to vmanage, it is showing that, okay, your variable value is 198.181.10. This is one of the IP I can reach. So if I go to my CLI and if I ping, because I have my Cisco AnyConnect connected, so I have reachability to this vmanage server. How you can set the variables? Again, this thing I have shown you in the previous session. The variable you can set from here. No variable, or you have some variable. You can see that I have my variable set. My variable name is Cisco Reservable SD-WAN environment. But if you want to change it, you can go and click here. You can see a quick look on this variable. You can see the token as well. The variable, you can click edit, and then you can change this value. Instead of 1.1, I can use 1.11, 1.11. Instead of admin 1, 123, 123. And then you need to go and click save. Now, if you save this, and now if you go back here, it will tell you 1.11, right? And then I can go to the authorization, inherit auth from parent. I think that's okay. Or you can go and give the basic auth, admin and Cisco. This is the username and password. I can send. Now this will not give you result. Why? Because the URL, the SD-WAN URL is unreachable actually. This IP doesn't exist. And even the username password is also wrong. So you can click view console and you see that 1.10 is reachable. Those are the earlier program I tested. But here you can see the 1.11 output. I can expand this, telling that this is not reachable. This is not reachable. Right? So what we can do, now we can go back to the variables, click edit, change it. Username is admin and password is correct. I can click save, right? Let's go back to this authentication and send it. Now you can see that we have the method which is telling that something is wrong. If you see 200 here, and this error code we are going to learn in our next session, next class. What is meaning of 200, 201, 205, 405, etc., etc. Some error is there. If you see something related starting with 2, 200 or 2, then it is okay. So it has some issue related to post methods, not supported, all those things. No problem. I can go and check the token API. Let's see the token API. This is actually the correct API format where you have the vmanage correct, your port is correct, data services, client and token. So let's click here. Let's see that if it will go and generate sub token. It is showing. Let's see the result. Now you can see the 200 here, right? That means that you are getting some response and the result. So the result, this is the result, this is the body, right? I can click here to the pretty. I have this option called raw. If you go to this option raw, you have this preview option as well. You have visualize as well. I'll show you all those things. So pretty option, headers are there, body. So in this body, it's telling that it has some issue. Although this is successful, means this is reachable, but I'm not getting any token here. Okay, no problem. We'll try to correct it. But this is the way that you can go and execute the APIs, and it's very easy. Now you can see after changing the username password, we are getting the token. That means it is correct and we are getting some result. Right? This is the way that you can go and test the APIs. Now let me show you one nice thing here with Postman. Fabric devices. I want to know that how many fabric devices I have in my vmanage, so I can go and use this API. HTTPS vmanage port data service and device. This is the API. This is the inbuilt API that we can go and explore within the API doc, right? So if I send this and if username and password is correct, it will give you the output. Otherwise, I should go here, use basic auth, username, password, and send it. So what it is telling? Token provided does not match the token generated by the server. Wow. It has some error. It has some token error. And let's do one thing. Let's go to the token. This is the token. Let me copy the result. Let me go ahead and edit. output that token. Let's go back to the Fabric devices. Now we have the token issue. Wow. What we can do here. Still we have 401 authorization issue. Raw. Output I wanted in the JSON format. So JSON, yeah. Raw. And the pretty is okay. You can see it is not generating the result because I have some issue related to token. And this is not. So let's focus on this username and password only. This is correct username and password. And then once you are here, let's see. So vmanage IP is correct. Port is correct. So we should get some result, but it is telling that the token that you are providing is wrong. So no problem. Let's go back to the authentication. And let's see all these APIs one by one. So it has some issue. No problem. We'll correct it. So let's go back here. Oops. To my environment. I'll do one thing. I'll remove this token. I'll remove this token. Let's click edit. I will create some dynamic tokens. I don't want these tokens. Save it. And let's try to generate the token one more time. Now you can see token got changed. I can copy this token. Oops. And now if we go here, let's see that token 790. Correct, right? It got updated. And see 45 CD, etc. etc. Now let's go here to the Fabric devices and click send. And now you are getting the result. So that was some token issue that we have corrected. And now we are getting the result. Now this is the result that you can see. It is telling that the SD-WAN devices. Let me show you that one of the result. If I go up and here you will see in the full screen, see the devices, DC1, VH1, DC1, VH, etc. etc. So device list is there, right? But one nice thing about Postman, let me show you the one very nice feature we have in Postman, that here you will see this visualize option. If you click there, and I want to see the visual response of this particular output. So what Postman will do, that it will go and generate some nice output like this. So it is telling that device ID, host name, reachability, status, and all those things, serial number and all. So it's very much visual, right? That's the capability we have with Postman. Even we have some option to save as well. Somehow I lose that. But you can see that, right? We have the option that we can have the visual presentation as well. We can go and see that output in different formats. Right? Any question you have so far, please feel free to ask.
From this visualization, we can export to Excel, that one? Or no?
100% we can export to Excel from Postman, right? So let's go back here to the Fabric devices. Save response to file. What is this format? Response. I don't know what is the file format. If not here, then we can store this file to the this type of output. We are going to get with our Python programming. So in our Python program, we'll run the API and the result we will store in the Excel, PDF, anywhere, whatever thing you want, Word, text, Excel, PDF, PPT, anything we can, any format we can store the file with our Python scripts.
Okay, Rakesh, my other question is, this Postman is a public and is free, no? But how secure is my data? If I'm putting my user and password here for any external API, somebody can take it? Or it's public, everybody can access? Or how secure is to
Yeah,
use the
so
Postman?
it has user access, like using any application. What we are doing, we have role based access.
Mhm.
So in this, we can create a user account. So if someone will hack the account, then only he will get the username password, right? Otherwise, it's not possible because everything is hidden here in this as an environment variable.
It's
CCNA.
so nice to be free, no?
Yeah, so all programmers, they are using Postman to test the APIs.
Mm.
First, they are testing in the API, means they are testing the API. Then only they are utilizing these things in the scripts. All those APIs you can see. Why? Because what you need to do, simply import those APIs and test it. So it's very fast. Easily you can import and test it. People are using this. It's 100% it is in use. CCNA DevNet. I have, oh, this is JSON file actually. They have stored in JSON. Only Postman you can see like this, but the export option is JSON. But anyways, these things we can convert in Excel or any format with the Python script. Okay. All right.
Good. We need to review all the videos in the week.
Sure.
To review again.
Yeah. So please go work on these small things that we have covered today. And next class, we are going to continue with the API. API, we have some 4 or 5 more sessions. And it is there in the document as well that I have shared with you. So you can go and have a look on those documents. So next class, we have the topic related to describe common uses pattern related to webhooks. But I have shown you earlier, the section number 2 that we have started is full of API thing. The entire section number 2, you can see this is understanding the APIs, response, consume, and troubleshooting, authentication, everything. So we are going to spend much time here in this section. All right. If you have any further question, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, you can stop here.
I'm okay. No question for me.